Hi everyone, it's MaryAnn the PenguinGirl, and welcome to Artwork Deep Dive number 2. And today I'm going to talk about the artwork that you guys picked as your third favorite out of the whole series of 9. And it is this one. Ta-da! So this here is a very whimsical, beautiful, fairy tale-like scene of the fisherman's Bastion in Budapest, Hungary, and we're going to take a closer look at this artwork today. So this illustration is called Party at Fisherman's Bastion, and it's a very whimsical, dreamy, fairy tale-like setting here of what appears to be a dance party. So you have these music maker dreamer penguins who are playing various instruments, and the hearts represent the music. So it's not just music, but it's also expressing their love and their joy and their passion for playing music as they create the atmosphere for this very whimsical and happy scene. And then here you have a group of purple and blue dreamer penguins who are partying it up. So just a note here that, the dreamer penguins, they are neutral. So they have no nationality or race or age or gender. So they're neutral. So they can represent any one of us. So even when you see there's a purple and a blue one together, it doesn't mean that it's one male and one female. Usually the purple and blue penguin together means they're a couple. So this is a couple right here, but it doesn't mean that one is male and one is female. They could be any gender really. And then these two blue ones, it means that they are not together, they're just dance partners, but these ones are together. There's a long story behind that, which I shall share another time. So yeah, and if you see here, the Fisherman's Bastion architecture in the background, and I visited it in the daytime, but I turned this scene into a night scene because I feel like it's way more magical and more beautiful. I think the nighttime to me is always a very magical place. Yeah, and there's these clouds here which add on to the dreamy nature of the scene because the clouds in reality are not that low. And one of you did give a very good comment was about the moon and how it's suspended from somewhere. It's almost as if there is something bigger to this picture than just this scene. Between middle of April last year until end of September, I attended a total of 5 artist residencies which helped me a lot in installing 6 Dream Tree murals in 4 countries. So in between my second and third residencies in the last 10 days of June, I had a break between these residencies. And at that time, my boyfriend, who had quit his job at the beginning of last year and was traveling around the world, we decided that we were going to meet up in Budapest. So we went to Budapest in Hungary. If you haven't been there before, Budapest is actually made of 2 areas separated by the Danube River. So one side is Buda and the other side is Pest, hence Budapest. So Fisherman's Bastion is a tourist attraction on the Buda side, and it's located at this place called Castle Hill. And from the Fisherman's Bastion, you can see amazing panoramic views of the Danube River and the Pest side of the city. So a little bit of history that I read up about this place. During the medieval times, there were thick castle walls where the Bastion currently stands today. And it's meant to protect the Buda Castle and the city on top of Castle Hill from numerous sieges that happened then, because they were by the river, so there were pirates and things like that. So some historians believe that this segment of the walls was protected by a guild of fishermen who lived under the walls. So in times of peace, the fishermen would go sell their fish at the fish market up in the castle. And then in the war times, they climb up and they would play their part in defending the place. So there's this whole sense of, community once again, and how people, take care of each other and protect the place that helps them make a living and helps give them a home. So the Bastion, this, as it currently is today, it was constructed at the start of the 20th century, and the intention was to create this communal panorama terrace for locals to enjoy the view. So this fairy tale-like look of the place is meant to invoke this romantic recall of the old times and this feeling of like, you step back in time and you look at this historical place, but really it was only constructed like in the early 20th century. So, needless to say, when I was there in June with my partner, the entire Castle Hill and the Bastion was full of tourists from everywhere. And when it's so touristy, you don't really get a sense of the atmosphere that it's meant to evoke. The romantic feeling, the stepping back into time. Yeah, kind of hard to get that with a whole bunch of tourists taking selfies around you. So, one thing about the illustrated travel stories that I love is that I can take these real life inspirations and turn them into something that, I would want to experience and want to sense in my mind and in my heart. So, in a way, I'm elevating them to another level. So I take the real life inspiration of the architecture of the Fisherman's Bastion and I turn it into this fairy tale story of community and people celebrating joy together. So I imagine that long before Budapest became a tourist hotspot, the Fisherman's Bastion might have been a place for the residents of Castle Hill to gather, and then they would celebrate all these special occasions. They would have dances and parties and a lot of live music. And I believe in the medieval times there were all these festive celebrations as well because this was before television and internet. So what do people do to entertain themselves? Well, they dance, they make music, they sing, they hang out. Yeah, so this illustration is really a celebration of the love and the joy of an ideal community. And it's really inspired by the stories of how the residents used to come together to defend their home, how they take care of each other, how they share their resources and support each other to ensure that their community thrives. So this illustration and really embodies my vision of this ideal community and an ideal world where people coexist peacefully and we support each other and we take care of each other, and then during the good times we celebrate and we make music and we express our passion and express our true selves and just dance like no one is watching and sing at the top of your lungs and just have a really great time and enjoy what life has to offer together.